This just in, Ezekiel Elliott has been suspended for the first 6 games of the season. Now, he has 3 days to appeal that suspension. The NFL must hear the case within 10 days, but Ezekiel Elliott has been suspended 6 games to open the season for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. This is a suspension that came into focus. The league did a thorough, extensive, lengthy investigation, and eventually, in the end, there were so many statements to sift through from both sides, but the league felt that the evidence was such that it warranted a 6-game suspension. Roger Goodell leaned heavily on a 4-person committee composed of legal and medical experts in this particular case that gave him feedback on the particular case. And again, they heard and were a part of the hearing process. They weighed in individually to Roger Goodell on their thoughts on the particular situation. And now the league has taken steps that the legal system in Columbus was not comfortable doing. The league has suspended Ezekiel Elliott 6 games in an incident in which Ezekiel Elliott was not charged nor arrested. Now, the judge, the prosecutor in that particular case, the prosecutor said that he believed that there was physical violence that took place between Zeke Elliott and the accuser, but he did not feel comfortable rendering a criminal decision. And so in this particular case, he was not charged, he was not arrested, but the league believed there was enough evidence. The league does not have to lean on legal authorities or a legal decision to make its own decision. And in this particular case, it didn't. It has suspended Ezekiel Elliott 6 games in a decision that is going to have enormous ramifications on and off the field. It could set into motion a series of events that could pit Jerry Jones versus the NFL if he wants to pursue legal action. That'll be something that'll be next, because now Roger Goodell has sent a message that Jerry Jones is not bigger than the league, and that Ezekiel Elliott, despite the fact that Jerry Jones has said there was no evidence of any domestic violence in this particular case, the league has gone ahead and suspended Ezekiel Elliott for 6 games.
Adam, let's just unpack a little bit of what you touched on at the beginning of giving us that news. If you could, walk us through what's next for the Cowboys from an appeal front. What's the next step?
Okay, Ezekiel Elliott has 3 business days, to file notice of appeal, and a hearing must be scheduled within 10 days of receipt of notice of that appeal. So that means, let's just say it's Friday, the 11th. Let's say Ezekiel Elliott appeals Tuesday, which would be the 15th. The appeal would have to be heard by the 25th. The bottom line is, I don't think it's going to affect the start of the season. If there's some reduction, look, he's not going to have the entire suspension overturned. In this particular case, the commissioner hears the appeal, or a commissioner's designee, likely Harold Henderson, hears the appeal. So it's hard to imagine that even if he appeals it, and even if he's successful, that there's a huge situation here where they can reduce the suspension to overturn it. That's not going to happen. Could there be a reduction? I guess, but we don't know the particulars of the case.
Adam, I'm curious if this case, with regard to the NFL's metering out its punishment here, is this case viewed in a vacuum, or are other off-field incidents with regard to this specific player, Ezekiel Elliott, are other incidents taken into consideration when this sort of punishment, this suspension, is handed out?
Well, here's the situation. The league considered primarily the incidents, the domestic violence incidents from February and July of 2016. And the other situation that the league did factor in was the St. Patrick's Day altercation that occurred when he pulled down a woman's shirt. Now, I'm told that that didn't enter into the final decision of discipline of 6 games, but it's a situation where the league decided that 6 games is warranted primarily from, again, the allegations made against Zeke Elliott.